the Lillian Bilski Freeman house, and my video is about a term I've coined and about demonic possession, oppression. I have notes here, and infestation. So the term would be intersectionality-informed, and it's almost similar with trauma-informed. We need intersectionality-informed awareness about narcissistic sorceric possession and the others, oppression and infestation, because there's zero societal intersectionality-informed awareness. Got my little notes here. So, mind me 1 second, I'm doing this in okay, so the word demonic is described as fiercely energetic or frenzied energy. So it's almost, you can imagine, superhuman level magnetic strength of this energy, power driven force behind it. It can be generated from within, from sorcery, which is a biblical term for drug use, mind-altering substances that bend the powers of the mind, distort them, and make them more superhuman, demonic, fiercely energetic, or frenzied. And this is where you get all the disorders of the mind, these demoniac mental disorders, such as narcissism. So neuroception in context of the polyvagal theory is the unconscious or reflexive detection of safety, danger, or life threat by neural circuits in the autonomic nervous system. And with that being said, when we are living in constant fight, flight, fear, freezing, fawning, all these, with narcissistic sorcery, infestations, oppressions, and possessions, they're constantly fighting our I guess reticularly activating, deactivating our systems to train new behavior, new fears, new worries, new behaviors, and to become obsessive. And there's superhuman fear. It's imperceptible because narcissistic abuse is mainly invisible. So when we have, this would have been faster when we have infestation of the narcissistic sorceric abuse, this stage involves external disturbances and influences that affect a person's environment or possessions, but not the person directly. Examples include strange noises, objects moving on their own, or a sense of unease in a particular location. So with this kind of thing, we get the mind games, we get the sudden coincidences occurring, the synchronicities, but they're not from a good source. They're manipulated from the sorceric, the narcissistic person's inner anger, and from their inner world of they need their supply. And so because they can't get their supply out of someone, or someone poses or appears or is perceived as a threat to their whole world, you become the target. And so now they hate everything about you, your existence, the fact that you're loving, you're kind. You have dreams and motivations and inspirations and everything. They can't generate those things. They have no empathy, no sympathy, no emotionality in terms of others existing. No one exists except themselves. We're seen as nothing. So all the much more reason to put sorcery demonic infestation against us, to manipulate the mind and distort and bend our minds. Natural magnetics, it's kind of like bending the metal of the mind into their shapes and forms of choosing. And then the oppression comes with attacks on the mind, body, or circumstances, but without a complete loss, without complete control or loss of will, including mental oppression, recurring negative or intrusive thoughts, including those that are self-destructive or lead to fear-driven decisions, physical oppression, experiencing inexplicable illnesses, physical pain, or sudden attacks, as seen in the Book of Job, circumstantial oppression, facing persistent setbacks, financial difficulties, or relational problems. So with oppression, we're going to get in the neuroceptive polyvagal theory unconscious, subconscious, recurring intrusive thoughts of fear of this, fearing this environment. So the more you manifest the fear of it, their power grows, and the more you attract their sorceric, narcissistic, infesting, coincidental behaviors within your environment. And to some mental disorders, it would seem that they can feel like their mind goes into such psychosis bend that they feel like the person's way over there, but they're following and monitoring and watching way over here in other cities, countries, wherever. But anyway, it all comes from the same source. It came from one generated hatred from a narcissist that the person has actually met or been in contact with in physical presence. And I'm not sure how that could work if the person was a narcissist, like in a witchcraft thing, and they just hated somebody at a distance, like across the world, and never met them. I mean, maybe there could be some infestation going on, but I'm not sure it could reach the point of oppression and infestation. So, you need full contact with these, let's call them creatures, because I don't support narcissists. I see them as human beings. Mentally, the physical oppression, so you suddenly get ill and mentally ill, so you get depressed and anxiety and fears and worries, and psychosis is because of having to monitor and observe all these phenomena that's happening around you and keeping track of it, but being unable to prove them or to stop them. And if you're not conscious, as a disposition, I suppose, naturally, you're asleep, then you're not going to be able to understand them, to fight them. So it would be all an internal battle. So being your outer world is the world of you pushed out. It's the masculine world, the masculine energetic world, and the inner world is being the feminine world of feminine energy within, and the kingdom of God is within. So if you are in the higher echelons of the cosmos of your kingdom, your queendom, you would be safe from these demoniac attacks, narcissistic demoniac attacks. But they have ways of dwindling you down and beating you down, stripping you away a little bit at a time, piece by piece, until you don't even realize it, especially if you're not aware or you've been in vulnerable situations with risky people who you shouldn't have been, or who are problematic and you tolerate and whatnot. There's ways that it gets through The circumstantial oppression, facing persistent setbacks, financial difficulties, or relational problems. So you're going to get persistent setbacks. These demoniac occurrences, they actually, especially if you're a kingdom citizen, I'm getting looks. Well, we've never heard these things before. That's what I was saying. There's zero awareness. Anyways, if you're a kingdom citizen, then you know what the battle is all about, and you know how the fight go. If you are awake, woke, enlightened. But if you are not, you're going to resort to your own will and methods of personal power of how to fight this spiritual abuse and attack and spiritual warfare, demonic warfare. It would be the persistent setbacks. They will be if you're manifesting solutions and praying up and keeping yourself fixed on the word and standing on it and walking in it and consistently regenerating and generating faith and standing in it and on it and by it, they're going to be running ahead of you and sabotaging you with setbacks against your manifested miracles and blessings that are supposed to be coming into your life. And they can do it by alerting each other to their secret demoniac code. And it's so deep that you're not even supposed to think these things with the forgiveness of just forgiving one person, or else it will happen within us if we don't, within our kingdom. Like forgiving the outer world of ego and all its low mammalian echelons. If we don't forgive them, then we bring that up into the kingdom and tear our kingdom down. It divides itself. So we'll have financial difficulties and relational problems. They interfere with everything. They don't want us to get ahead financially. They want to destroy everything and take everything that we have gained with our finances, keep opportunities and jobs from us so that we can't get ahead and we continually feel threatened in our neural circuits of the nervous system or in fight flight. They want you in that state of mind and toxic thinking so that you are weakened and you are destroyed and you become consumed with putting your energy and focus on them so that they gain power over you or us. So the third one would be possession. And this is where maybe you fought circumstantial, financial, relational, strange illnesses, sudden, bizarre, random attacks, weird coincidences for a long time. But then suddenly you run into this person who's been doing this. Some people can. I personally have, in the last 3 years, encountered all the people who have been doing these things all my life. But if you're not woke, I guess you might not even be aware that people are actually doing these things. That's why the intersectionality would be very important to understand, which I'll get to in just a moment. But if they are, so somebody generated these narcissistic mind control situations over a person, and you will get in psychology and through the Catholic Church and through every other denominational church that, oh, you shouldn't think so far into it. Yes, you shouldn't think so far into it with your logical mind or your emotional mind, and you should just forgive in their terms. But if you've gone through it like decades like me, you through trial and error and the understand the cost of going through these things, you come to learn the patterns and know what they are. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and spend years, precious years, important years of your time figuring out how this is happening, what is happening, why it's happening, where it's coming from, how to stop it. I mean, you can understand through it's happening because they are, yes, a person is doing it, or a number of people, or somebody you've met, somebody who usually they've been very abused and they have a superhuman anger within them, and they've cut off all negative feedback and pushed out all of their emotions. They don't have a heart or compassion, so they are prime breeding ground for this type of demonic territory, I suppose, and abuse. They will then try to possess you. So if you figure out who's doing it, or you meet some random person who just happenstance tries to do it, which can both be done. It's happened to me in the past, and I'm being monitored by my phones again. This is the most severe stage, possession, where a demon or evil spirit takes complete control of a person's body, including their thoughts, actions, and will. While rare, possession is believed to be a result of actions or choices that create vulnerability to demonic influence. And so, a result of actions or choices that create vulnerability to demonic influence. So if you choose to be around, let's say, a cesspool of narcissists, and I emailed Dr. Ramani the one time, what do you do if you find yourself in a group of narcissists? And she did the video on that one. I'd like to get a hold of that and reference the title, but we'll save that one. It's so if you make a choice to be around them, or you're around addiction-oriented crowds, or through vulnerability, through you don't realize who you're talking to, or the precepts and the behaviors and the patterns and the flags of narcissism to begin with, you're not going to see these things ahead of having to go through them with your vulnerability at your own expense and cost. So the possession comes that way. They break you down, they test you, they mess with you, they get you in the pattern, they get your autonomic system, nervous system trained over years, even sometimes you don't realize, into a pattern of reaction. And then when the time is right, they already know ahead of time your destiny, and they are scheduling to take it over, to delay it from you, obstruct it from you, destroy it even, or you in the process. One or the other, or all, if they can get their hands and do all these different things. So the possession will come. They either get possession of your inheritance, your belongings, your destiny, of you mentally, and put their narcissistic rage and trauma into you, and the superhuman demonics that they... Oh, the woman who was doing it to me earlier, she ended up climbing a tree. She's coming because, yeah, of course they're watching, but they have no power. So she tried to curse me on behalf of somebody else. We'll save that story for another time as well. I have some handful of examples how it's been being done to me in the last little while. So they will try to break you down and control you through patterns and behaviors. And then once they get to that level and process of dealing with you, they will then try to oppress you mentally, physically, or circumstantially, and then ultimately, potentially, like if they put you in jail or a mental hospital, or you in a world of grieving or suffering or to your own demise, you choose that you are forsaking love for forever, or you're never gonna do nothing with your life because you give up entirely. Like, they just possess you with these obsessive demonic things. Okay, so there are a handful of types of possession levels that I just wrote down. There's police federal possession, so they can take over your identity. They have your numbers, your details, your name, address, everything, and they can live out their jobs with the intentions of creating in their mind a narrative about you, which ultimately gets manifested demonically, because it's a superhuman strength, the network that they have of power. There's a peer and an industry standard possession, so keeping up with your peers or what the industry tells you to look like, be like. These things can possess you. There's fractured identity possession. You don't know who you are. You've had a broken family, come from foreign, different countries, whatever, you're displaced. Like, you can lose your steps are not ordered and you're lost, so they can easily scoop you up into possessing. And there's narcissistic domination possession, so we've covered that sort of thing. And then there's addiction possession, such as you can be addicted to eating. They'll control you through that. They'll manifest some situations, opportunities, substances, for spending, addictions, eating and compulsions like OCD or habits, things, opportunities like that. So the last thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to demoniac narcissistic possession, the intersectionalities are hard to, there is zero awareness, because if you speak of these things, they will gaslight you into believing that they don't exist and that you are crazy or need help or are too in your emotional mind. They have everything under the sun. It's a narcissistic industry, like all of the industry, the government, the institutions, are historically, archaically narcissistic, psychopathically built, designed, operated. So you get all of these philosophies, and I'm sorry, I have to go back and find my word. Moral relativism. There's moral relativism. Oh, well, they're a good person, and I think they're just living their best life. They're not a narcissist. There's no such thing as a narcissist. You can't say narcissism. You're not a doctor. You can't diagnose people. They will gaslight you until you are possessed with self-doubt and unbelief and confusion, so that the narcissist has full, that's how the institution gets possession, and they get money off of you because you turn into crazy Lulu, because now you need to prove that this is happening to you and you can't prove it. So maybe you do something very wrong and are arrested or whatever it is. They get you one way or another, recidivism, or keep coming back. And So there's zero awareness about the intersectionalities. The intersectionalities would be such as the Catholic Church saying, in order for the diocese to rule out demoniac possession, they would need to determine demoniac possession. They would need to rule out addictions and mental disorders. So with that being said, there's more research going to have to keep happening here. It's just where the intersection lies is that they deny that addiction and mental health, the sorcery part, play a part in creating the possession, which is not a person can be possessed by someone else, but there is I guess I'm taking a shot in the dark to explain this. So if you have a narcissist who is for instance sitting at a drop-in center having their meal, and they're sitting at their table with their tray, and they're staring and sputtering off all kind of curses and hatred and evil things, and they're staring at particular people and monitoring you, and you don't even know they're watching you. You don't even know they're doing it to you unless you're like me and you know when they're doing it to you and who they are and exactly when. But they're projecting into a person their psychosis, their narcissism, their demonic evil hatred. Like, these are supernatural, fierce energies being projected into a person, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm saying after a long period of time, maybe some circumstances, it could be so it could be that they are, it has been done for a while, but other circumstances it could be that it's happened instantly. Whatever it is, these are able to be done to a person, and we don't need necessarily to have addiction or mental health issue, but they don't have the intersections. I'm saying the awareness, the possible causes, understandings. They may in science, they may in the church, but in the average world, they don't have anything to talk about these things to prove it, and the language and the lingo and the intersections of understanding of how it affects vulnerable, marginalized populations and types and groups and whatnot. So that's what I was saying, and I will be doing more videos on that, and looking forward to making more. Thanks.